Hello, future criminologists. It's Sam here, and today we will tackle on the handwriting identification and examination. So, as we all know, handwriting identification and examination is just part of a question document examiner's job. Okay, it is a part of a question document examiner's job, and of course, need na nato studyhan kung unsaon pag-identify and unsaon pag-examine sa usa ka handwriting. But first, let's move into the terminologies. So, of course, here we have the term handwriting. So, this refers to the result of a very complicated series of facts being used as whole or combination of certain forms of visible mental and muscular habits acquired by long continued painstaking effort. So kung ano di ay taog handwriting, dili na siya ingon nga suwat-suwat lang no. Dili na siya ingon nga pag-express lang kung giunsa pag-move sa ato ang fingers or sa ato ang hands, but rather usa na siya ka proseso nga nag-involve ang lain-lain nga parte sa ato ang lawas ug usa na siya ka proseso nga ato ang gi-learn over time o gi-improve over time through painstaking effort tungod kay nagkatunta og suwat sukad pagkabata, and up until now we are still improving our handwriting. Now, handwriting is also known as visible speech, and that's true because when we say visible, it means ato ang makita, and speech is something that we say. So, handwriting is called a visible speech tungod kay mao niyang atong messages nga gusto i-convey pinaagi sa pagsuwat. Okay, so that's why ato ang makita ang mensahe. Now, speaking of handwriting, we have three types of handwriting. So we have the cursive, the hand lettering or script writing, and we also have the block writing. Now let's move to the definition. When we say cursive, this refers to writing in which the letters are, for the most part, is joined together. It is flowing and running. Tungod kay the letters are joined together, it means they are interconnected. They are connected. So kung mingon day tag cursive, kung ato ni siyang binisayon mo na itong gitawag nga pinakatay. Nga kung asa ang letra sa ato ang words konektado sa usag-usa, and it is smooth flowing or it is running. Tungod kay sunod-sunod naman ang movement sa imuhang fingers ug ang movement sa imuhang gisuwat or ang flow sa imuhang gisuwat. Okay? Now moving forward, we have the hand lettering or script writing. Do not confuse yourselves. Hand lettering or script writing, they are the same. Okay? So let's go to the definition. Hand lettering or script writing refers to writings characterized by a disconnected style. Additionally, hand lettering or script writing, this is also a mixture of capital letters and small letters. So, Kai, based on the definition, this is characterized by disconnected style. It means ang ato ang letters, unlike the cursive, dili siya konektado. So kung ato ni siyang binisayon, muna itong gitawag nga binuldi. Okay, so this is what we call binuldi. So keep in mind, cursive, muna itong gitawag nga pinakatay. Hand lettering or script writing, muna itong gitawag nga binuldi. Now, moving to the last type of handwriting, we have this so-called block writing or block handwriting. So this is a type of handwriting in all capital letters. So puros ni siya dagko nga letra. So kung puros ganina dako nga letters, this is what we call block writing. So just a short recap. Cursive, pinakatay. Hand lettering or script writing, binuldi. Block handwriting or block writing, muna ang writing or handwriting nga puros capital letters. Now, there are also types of handwritings as to their sizes. Kung maingon ganit tag all capital letters, which means all dagko nga mga letra or uppercase, muna itong gitawag nga majuscule. Maju meaning big. Now, kung small letters ganina siya or atong gitawag nga lowercase, o itong gitawag nga minuscule, meaning small or minute, okay? So, just a short recap. If it's all in the uppercase or capital letters, we call that majuscule. If it is if it is in small letters or lowercase, we call that minuscule. So these are the types of handwritings according to the size of our letters. Okay? Now, moving forward, since we talked about in the first part that handwriting is a series of a complicated process that involves the different parts of our body, let's dive into the basis of handwriting identification. So, of course, all of us here learned the same forms of alphabets at school since kita tanan nag grade 1 nag kinder ta, and same ang gitudlo sa ato ang mga maestra no nga mao ni siya ang porma ni letter A nga dako, mo ni siya mo ni siya ang porma ni letter A nga dako, mo ni siya ang porma ni letter A nga gamay, mo ni ang porma ni letter B nga dako, mo ni ang porma ni letter B nga gamay. However, have you come to think of it? Why is it that when we sign important documents or when we need to certify nga kita jud ang ni-acknowledge sa usa ka document, we have to affix our signature and we need to show our own handwriting? It is because our handwriting, again, it is a product of a complicated process. So regardless kung unsa tong nakatunan sa eskwelahan nga mga porma sa letra tungod kay proseso man na siya nga nag-involve sa ato ang brain, we will have different handwriting from each other. And that is the basis of our handwriting identification. Maka-identify ta kung kinsa ang ni-execute or ni himo sa usa ka handwriting tungod kay lahi-lahi ang proseso sa ato ang brains. Ug tungod kay lahi-lahi man ang proseso sa atong brains, of course, lahi-lahi pod ang execution sa ato ang handwriting. Now, as what I have said, handwriting is a complex process involving our neuromuscular activities. So when we say neuro, of course, that talks about our brains. Muscular, that talks about our muscles. Okay? So it means ang handwriting di ay, it is a combination of the activities of our brain and our muscles. Now, speaking of neuromuscular activities, here we have the central nervous system. This is also known as the CNS. The central nervous system is composed of the brain, the spinal cord, kanina diri nga part sa ato ang lawas, and we have the peripheral nervous system nga kung asa diha nabutang ang ato ang nerves. Now, come to think of it, si brain, kung atong gi-analyze, that is the thinker, muna ang magplano sa kung unsa ang atong angay isuwat. Now, kung naka-formulate na si brain kung unsa ang atong i-execute nga writings or messages or words or letters, mag-send dayon na siya og signal adto ni spinal cord, in which si spinal cord ang carrier. Siya ang mupadala sa signal dito sa atuang peripheral nervous system. Nga kung asa dito nabutang ang atuang nerves. Si nerves dayon maoy mo send og signal sa atuang muscles. So kung ato na siyang compare with our logistics, no? Si brain mo na siya ang Shopee. Diha ta mag-place of order. Si spinal cord mo na siya si Shenzhen sorting center. And then we have the peripheral nervous system, nga kung asa na si nerves mo na siya si delivery rider. And si muscles mo na siya ang receiver. Okay? Hopefully that is understandable. So mag-formulate ta kung unsa ang atong angay i-execute nga writing. Dayon mag-send og signal si brain didto ni spinal cord nga maoy mo carry sa message. Si peripheral nervous system, that is the Shopee rider nga maoy mo padala mismo didto sa atuang muscles. And si muscles mao na ang receiver sa atuang messages nga maoy mo execute sa atong handwriting. Now, talking about the peripheral nervous system, under ANA is we have the somatic nervous system and we also have the autonomic nervous system. Speaking of somatic nervous system, this controls our voluntary movement. So for example, naguna-una ka nga mag-execute og handwriting. So si somatic nervous system, it controls our voluntary movements man. So of course, it is the somatic nervous system that helps us execute our handwriting. When we say autonomic nervous system pod, this controls our involuntary functions such as sweating, such as breathing, such as our heartbeat. Okay? So of course, kung pas-pas imong heartbeat, it will affect our handwriting. And thus, it will also affect the way we control our movements or our voluntary movements. Okay? So, to put it simply, kanina yung handwriting, dili na siya ingon nga suwat-suwat ra. It is not something that we can execute easily. So, kani siya, morning na siya din rin. Di ba ni Ana siya nga, siguro umiral yung kasamaan ng kamay ko, gumalaw. Di na siya ingon ana. Dili na siya applicable sa ato ang mga movements. Because again, the movements of our hands and the way we execute our handwriting, it is a product of a complicated or complex process that involves our central nervous system in which nag-involve si brain, si spinal cord ug si peripheral nervous system. And ubos ni peripheral nervous system, we have the somatic nervous system, which controls our voluntary movements. And we also have the autonomic nervous system, which controls our involuntary functions like breathing, sweating, and so on. Okay? Now, since we are talking about the brain, which is the thinker, which is where we place our orders. So, of course, it's important that we dive into the functions of the different parts of our brain. So, here we have the cortex. So, si cortex, siya jud na ang mag-coordinate sa ato ang mga muscles. Okay? So, si cortex, this actually refers to the entire function of our brain because it provides motor coordination. So let's read the definition of the cortex, okay? This is responsible for generating the initial muscle forces necessary to move a limb and integrating sensory to ensure that movements are executed with precision and synergy. When we say synergy, that is the actual coordination of our brain and our muscles. So to put it simply, kani di ay si cortex muna siya ang layer sa atuang brain nga kung asa siya ang nag-generate sa ato ang initial muscle forces which is needed to move our limbs like our hands and our shoulders and so on, okay? And this also integrates our sensory information like touch, vision, and hearing. So to put it simply, kani si cortex, aside from delivering messages to the parts of our brain in coordination with our cerebellum, siya po di ay ang feel sa ato ang sensory functions. Okay, in coordination with the different parts of our brains. Now, speaking of these different parts of our brains, let's talk about here. So we will just focus on the picture here, okay? Wait a moment. Oops. So here we have the frontal lobe. Let me just enlarge this one. Okay, so here we have the frontal lobe. So si frontal lobe, this is what we call the planner. Gitawag siya og planner tungod kay it decides what our brain needs to do. It organizes our actions and it controls our speech. So as what we have said, handwriting is what we know as the visible speech. So it controls what we need to execute. Unsa ang mga letra nga need nato i-execute. Now here we have the precentral gyrus. Precentral gyrus is known as the starter. So this acts as the green light. This kicks off our muscle movements, okay? So, this precentral gyrus muna ang mo-start sa movement sa ato ang muscle. Now, here we have the postcentral gyrus. Postcentral gyrus is known as the sensor. It allows us to feel what our hand is doing. It's like a feedback system that tells us if we're pressing too hard or too soft. So for example, nagsuwat ta sa usa ka surface or let's say usa ka table na kung asa kanang dili kaayo siya maayo nga surface. So para maklaro atong handwriting kinahanglan nato iduot or ato ang hatagan og more pressure ang ato ang handwriting, and that is the post-central gyrus at work. It gives us awareness, or yes, it makes us aware of our senses. It gives us feedback if we are pressing too hard or too soft, or if we are putting too much pressure or less pressure when we execute our handwriting. Now, here we have the parietal lobe. Parietal lobe, that is what we call as the navigator. This handles the touch and spatial awareness. This guides our hand across the page. Mobitaw na for example, even though when we are copying something, maskin pa o dili ta magtanaw sa atong notebook, nagtanaw ra ta kung unsa ang gisuwat sa board, kibaw gihapon ta kanus kinahanglan mo move ang ato ang hands or ang ato ang shoulders. Because that is the parietal lobe at work. Next is we have the occipital lobe. So the occipital lobe, this is known as the camera. This is known as the camera because this processes the vision. It recognizes letters, shapes, and visual patterns. And it also recognizes visual memory. So let's say for example, mo anak ko ninyo, okay, execute the letter A, execute the shape of heart, the shape of circle, blah, blah, blah. Maskin pag dili na nako isuwat diha sa board or diri sa ako ang slide, still you can remember because you have visual memory. So si occipital lobe, that is responsible for our vision, okay? And also, this is responsible on how you execute your handwriting even though you are not looking at your notebook or your papers. Next, we have the temporal lobe. This is also known as the interpreter. It is responsible for giving meaning to words and sounds. It helps us to understand language and memory. Gitawag siya og interpreter tungod kay mo man na siya amo process sa kung unsa ang imuhang nadungog. So let's say for example, I will tell you, okay, write your name, write your full name. So maskin pag di na ko isuwat ang inyong full name diha og tagsa-tagsa sa board or sa akong presentation, you will know because it has been interpreted by the temporal lobe that you need to execute your full name. Now, again, this is just a quick recap. Frontal lobe, this is the planner. It plans our actions. Precentral gyrus, this is the starter. It starts our muscle movements. Postcentral gyrus, this is what we call the sensor. It helps us to tell what our hand is doing. Parietal lobe, this is what we call the navigator because it handles the touch and spatial awareness. It tells our brain that we need to move our hands, we need to move our shoulders, we need to move our elbows because nahutan na taog space sa ato ang notebook. The occipital lobe, that is responsible for our vision or vision memory. It is responsible for recognizing shapes and letters through what we see. Temporal lobe, this is what we call the interpreter because it recognizes what we hear and it interprets what we hear or the instructions that we hear. Now, kung atong hunahon if si frontal lobe, precentral gyrus, postcentral gyrus, parietal lobe, occipital lobe mag-coordinate together and they have different functions, it will be chaotic, right? Because they are not controlled. Thus, muna ang trabaho ni cerebellum. So, og buot hunahon si cerebellum, it acts as coach. It controls the functions of each parts of our brain para ang atuang movement or ang atong muscle movement is well coordinated and it will execute it will be executed with precision and synergy. Now take note, si cortex, that is the bigger part of our brain. And this here is all involved with the function of the cortex, okay? And cortex is responsible for the functions of these parts in relation to the movement of our muscles. Si cerebellum ra ang tig kaning coordinate ani nila nga part, but si cortex ang tig-coordinate ni cerebellum ngadto sa ato ang muscles. I hope that is understandable. Okay? Now, speaking of cerebellum, we have the premotor area and the primary motor area. So, si cerebellum ang mo control sa atong premotor area and the primary motor area. So, speaking of the word pre, it means first, we are thinking about what we need to execute, okay? And here, since we are thinking about what we need to execute. So this guides our purposeful movement using our sensory input, especially our vision. So this coordinates different muscle groups to work together. So this handles higher functions like interpreting touch, what we can feel, what we can see, and what we can hear, as well as our speech, our reasoning, and our emotions, learning, and fine control of movement. So si premotor area, siya ang responsible sa kung unsa ang ato ang angay nga i-execute. Take note, humanata sa brain na nata dito dapit sa ato ang somatosensory system, which is our touch and pressure. Okay? Muna ng part sa ato ang body nga responsible for touch and pressure. Tungod kay touch and pressure naman na siya diring dapita sa atong hands or fingers. So si premotor area, siya ang responsible sa pag-coordinate sa kung unsa ang angay natong i-execute. Next, we have the primary motor area. So this directs our muscles for fine movements, okay? It can be small muscles which is directed dito sa atuang fingers, okay? And this adjusts our grip strength and pressure. So take note, si premotor area, first it talks about, or not talks, it thinks about what we need to execute. Nanana siya sa muscle dapit, what we need to execute. How do we execute it? Do we need to execute it with higher grip, or let's say stronger grip, or lesser grip? Do we need to execute it with lesser force or more force? Okay. Now, see primary motor area, this contributes to the fine movement of our distal muscles. So, muna siya to ang fingers, okay? So, this is responsible for the appropriate grip and pressure necessary for handwriting. So kung si premotor area na guna-una, do we have to grip it strongly or less pressure? Si primary motor area mo na siya ang mo execute. Okay? So hopefully that is understandable and we have already discussed these. Now let's move forward to still the physical basis of handwriting. So manata sa atuang brain adto nata sa atuang muscles. So there are different body parts that are required for the manipulation of writing instruments, and these are the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, and our fingers, specifically the thumb, the index, and our middle finger. Now, however, there are some writers with physical disabilities who uses their feet or their lips to hold writing instruments. So kanang pangutana nga, ma'am, what if magsuwat ang ako ang nailhan or ako ang kaila gamit iyahang tiil or iyahang baba. Handwriting gyapon na siya, ma'am. Again, it doesn't matter kung asa nga part sa ato ang body amo execute sa atong handwriting. It's just called handwriting because primarily atong hands man ang mo execute ana. But regardless kung asa nga part, the fact that it is an activity that involves our brain and our muscles, handwriting gyapon ang tawag ana because again it is a product of a complex process that involves our brain and our muscles. Okay? Now, speaking of muscles, there are three muscles involved in handwriting. First off is we have the flexor or the flexor muscle. This is responsible for when we execute our handwriting in downward strokes. Paubos. Pero ma'am, wrong ka ma'am. Dili mo ko magsuwat og kanang solely puro sa paubos. Di mo magsuwat og nga puro sa ingon ana. Asa man ang puwit ana ni And that's why we have the extensor muscle. The extensor muscle that is responsible for upward strokes. Pero ma'am, wrong gyapon ka ma'am. Because dili man ko magsuwat og up, down, up, down, up, down. It is a combination of the two, and that is why we have the lumbrical muscles, which is the hand, which is responsible for our hand rotation. So, it is mag-execute gani tag paubos nga movement, that is our flexor. Kung mag-execute gani tag pasaka nga movement, that is our extensor. Pero kung mo rotate na nga tong fingers, that is our lumbrical muscles. Pero ma'am, wrong gihapon ka. Kay dili man na ingon ana ra ang ako ang agi. It is a combination of downward movements, upward movements, and a rotation or hand rotation or finger bending. And that is why kung mag-coordinate na si flexor, si extensor, o si lumbrical muscle, ato na siyang gitawag nga motor coordination. So that is why maka-execute ta og lain-lain nga agi tungod kay nag-coordinate ang lain-lain nga muscles na to. Pero kung moadto ta sa specifics, when we say which muscle is responsible for downward movement, then we say that is the flexor. Which muscle is responsible for the upward movement, then we will say that is the extensor. Which muscle is responsible for finger bending and hand rotation, then we will say that is the lumbrical muscle. Pero when we execute our handwriting as a whole or as its entirety, that is what we call motor coordination. Okay? Now, since we are talking about motor coordination, there are different movements employed in handwriting. We have the finger movement, we have the hand movement, we have the forearm movement, and we have the whole forearm movement. Now, see finger movement, that is a combination of the movement of your thumb, the first, second, and slightly the third fingers in motion. Okay? However, the finger movement that is usually employed by children and illiterates. Why? Because if it is only your fingers that are moving, then your handwriting is limited. So that's why kung mag-execute ka og handwriting, unya fingers ra nimo ang maglihok, either gamay kayo imong agi, and ang imuhang agi is dili mapurma og tarong ang mga litra. Okay? Next, we have the hand movement. It is a combination of the movement of your fingers and your wrist. Ug tungod kay it is just a combination of the movement of your fingers and your wrist. Your handwriting here will also still be constricted. So it means kadtong mga tawo nga gagmay kayo og agi, ang ilang gi-employ nga movement is the hand movement. Okay? Now here we have the forearm movement. It is a combination of our finger, our wrist, and our elbows, and our shoulders. Okay? Now, kani si forearm movement, if we execute our handwriting, muna siyang kadalasan natong i-employ because when we are writing, we can notice our shoulders or our elbows moving because we are spatially aware that we need to move, and that is what also makes our handwriting look normal. Dili kayo siya dako, dili pud kayo siya gamay. So that is our forearm movement at work, and we usually employ this when we are writing on our notebooks or on our yellow pads. Okay. Next, we have the whole forearm movement. So, see, whole forearm movement, this is the action of the entire arm without resting. So, muna siyang sunod-sunod nga pag-execute sa ato ang agi, but without rest. Okay, so forearm movement, so that is the combination of the movement of our fingers, our wrist, our elbow, and our shoulder, but we have the support of the table. But whole forearm movement, it is a combination of the movement of our finger, our wrist, our elbows, and our shoulder, but we do not have a support from anything. So we cannot rest. Muna siya ang atong movement nga i-employ kung magsuwat ta sa mga dagko nga writing materials such as blackboard, whiteboard, manila paper, or unsa pa na nga dako ang iyahang writing surface. Okay? So just a recap, finger movement. This is usually employed by children and illiterates, and that is just the movement of your thumb, the first, second, and slightly third fingers. Hand movement. This is employed by people nga gagmay ug agi, and it is a combination of the movement of the fingers and the wrist. Forearm movement. This is the movement or the combination of the movements of the finger, wrist, elbow, and our shoulders. But it is supported with the table. So muna makapahuway ta, and we usually employ this when we write or we execute our handwriting on our notebooks or our papers. Whole forearm movement, it is a combination of the movement of our fingers, wrist, elbow, and our shoulder, but we cannot rest without resting. And we usually employ this movement when we execute our handwriting on big writing surface such as the blackboard. Okay? Hopefully that is understandable. Okay, now we will stop there or we will cut our video there and we will continue with our discussion after a short break.